You know, we tend to think of history as this chaotic, messy string of events. One thing happens, then another, with no real rhyme or reason. But what if that's not the whole story? What if, hidden just beneath the surface, there's a pattern, a code? Today, we're hacking into the historical record to find a truly bizarre anomaly. Okay, just look at this list. Gorm the Old, Harald Bluetooth, Sven Forkbeard. It's a laundry list of Danish kings. At first glance, it's just a jumble of names, right? It feels completely random. And that's pretty much how we're taught to see ancient history, as this big, confusing pile of disconnected facts. But here's where it gets interesting. What if it's not random? Not even a little bit. What if this list, and a few others just like it, were deliberately structured? What if there's a hidden code embedded within the official timeline? That's the mystery we're going to try and decrypt right now. All right, so our investigation starts in Denmark. We're going to zoom in on a very specific period, a nearly 400-year window between 936 and 1332. Because it's right here in this slice of medieval history that we find what looks like a major glitch in the system. So check this out. You take that chaotic mess of names we saw earlier and you line them up chronologically. Suddenly, something incredible starts to emerge. After the very first king, the entire list just clicks into place. It breaks down perfectly into 3 distinct blocks of rulers. And here is the truly wild part. Each of those blocks contains exactly 8 rulers. Not 7, not 9, 8. 3 perfect sets of 8. All of a sudden, that chaos we saw, it's gone. And what's left looks a whole lot more like a blueprint than an accident. And the rabbit hole goes deeper. Look at the bookends of each block. The very first and very last king. Block 1 starts and ends with a Harald. Block 2 starts and ends with a Canute. And block 3, yep, starts and ends with a Valdemar. Come on, that is not a coincidence. That is symmetry. It's our first massive clue that this might be a deliberate design. But the code gets even more specific. Let's track the name Erik. In the second block of kings, the name appears 3 times in sequence. Now, look over at the third block. What do you see? 3 Eriks again, in almost the exact same positions. The odds of that happening just by chance are, well, they're astronomical. So these naming patterns are already pretty compelling on their own. But when you layer the timeline on top of this, that's when things get really strange. Honestly, this is the point where it stops feeling like history and starts feeling a lot more like math. And here it is, the absolute kicker. From the start of block 1 to the start of block 2 is exactly 122 years. Okay, interesting. But then, from the start of block 2 to the start of block 3, you guessed it, it's another 122 years, right on the dot. This isn't just a pattern anymore. It's a precise repeating cycle, like a historical metronome, ticking away across the century. Okay, let's just hit pause for a second. An incredibly structured list of kings, repeating name patterns, and a perfect 122-year cycle? I mean, finding that in one country is bizarre enough. But what if this wasn't just a Danish glitch? What if the same program was running in other places too? This is where investigation goes pan-European. So if you go back and add up all the kings in this whole structured period in Denmark, you get this number, 27. Now, on its own, 27 doesn't really mean anything, it's just a number. But what if that number is actually the master key to this whole puzzle, the variable that connects Denmark to the rest of the continent? And this is where it gets truly mind-bending, because during that exact same period in medieval history, guess how many rulers Hungary had? 27. Scotland, 27. Poland and Norway, well, they come in at 27 too, with just a couple of minor tweaks. Let that sink in. 5 different kingdoms, hundreds of miles apart, all somehow landing on the exact same number of rulers. How is that even possible? And get this, the pattern is geographically specific. This 27 rulers club isn't a global phenomenon, not even close. You find it almost exclusively in the monarchies of Northern and Eastern Europe. That kind of concentration is a huge clue. It suggests there was some kind of shared template, maybe a single source code for writing history that only this part of the world was using. So let's just quickly recap. We have these symmetrical naming patterns, we have a precise 122-year cycle, and now we have 5 different nations all mysteriously ending up with 27 rulers. So what on earth could explain all this? Well, when you follow the data, it leads you to a pretty radical conclusion. The bottom line is this. These patterns are just too perfect. They're too precise to be a coincidence. Statistically, it's virtually impossible. So what does that mean? It means this probably isn't a record of history as it actually happened. Instead, the evidence strongly suggests these king lists were artificially constructed, that they were edited, maybe even partly invented long after the events, all to fit some kind of pre-existing template. So the big question is, how did this happen? Well, there are two main theories. Theory A is the single source idea. It suggests that all of these lists were essentially fabricated and then distributed from one central source across Europe. Then you have Theory B, the copied template idea. This one proposes that maybe historians in one country created this elegant structure, and then others just copied it, using it as a template to clean up their own messy national histories. All of this leaves us with a really provocative final thought. We've seen the code, we've seen the algorithm running in the background, but what does this actually mean for how we see the past? Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean that Harald Bluetooth or Canute the Great never existed. But what it does mean is that the neat, tidy stories we've been told were probably carefully crafted. The official historical record isn't raw data, it's a finished product, one that was edited and structured with some kind of hidden purpose in mind. So you have to ask yourself, if our most foundational historical records were deliberately engineered like this, what other secrets, what other hidden algorithms are still out there just waiting for someone to find them? It really makes you wonder.